Let's do this. All right. Hello, Cube lovers and people who got drunk and staggered in here by accident. Thank you for joining us. I am super excited. We're launching a new project tonight. I think everyone knows that. Real quick, this beautiful beard with eyes that's joining me is the illustrious David White. Before we go too far, D. White, why don't you just give him the 60-second version of you and Magic? No pressure.
Yeah, right. No pressure on the spot.
No.
Longtime player, started in the 90s, off and on growing up. Discovered Cube probably about 10 years ago. It's been my format of choice ever since. Lucky enough to work on the Live the Dream Cube with David McDarby. I know a lot of people enjoyed that, and we had a great time building it. So yeah, just real excited to be able to help produce some content and just be a part of the community.
If it doesn't make it clear to anyone, the fact that when I type in Cube Cobra, the fact that Live the Dream Cube is near the top should tell you how much I liked it. I'm going to link that real quick in the chat for anyone who wants it. I loved it, and there's a couple of VODs out there somewhere in my YouTube that has I think there was the review, and I know there's the time when you and McDarby both came on and chatted with me about it, which is kind of how this all started. So, quick little story time. D. White and McDarby both came on my stream, which was awesome. So fun having you guys on, and we talked about the Live the Dream Cube, and we talked about Cube in general, and we played some, and that was really fun. And I think that's when Andrew coined the hashtag CubeCuck. So a lot of history made that day. Yeah. And everyone has these little channel points, and I had set one up that says, Cube with JJ. So, and you didn't have to, but D. White here, redeemed that one. So we started chatting, and he's like, I had this idea. You should see if people in the community want to, have their cubes reviewed. We can get together and talk about them. And I was like, probably, but like, I'm a pretty small streamer still. Like, I don't know if anyone's going to care, like, what I have to say about their cube. And, I'll say it right now publicly. This will go right in the VOD. You were right. I was wrong. Because we got, 85 last time I checked submissions so far, and they're still rolling in slowly. So, whew. So we have a lot of work to do. So since this is the debut, I'll give you the very quick rundown, and then I just want to get right into it because we got a lot of cubes to go over. The idea is we're going to hit 3 cubes tonight. We've already selected them. I've notified everyone. Hey, J-Bro, good to see you, man. We're gonna pull up the cube. We're gonna kind of do a quick overview of it, and then the form gave an opportunity for people to submit either a specific question or, a general idea of what they want to know. Wow, even J-Bro is here. No one is more surprised than me. Thank you for the vote of confidence. But yeah, so we're gonna just go over each cube, and then in ongoing weeks, I've got a few other people who are in the cube community that will come on and help me do this, and I'm sure D. White, I'd love to have you back, so hopefully you'll be back.
Yeah, of course.
So we'll rotate through. Yep. No. You're the founder of this whole fucking crazy idea. So no, but I just want to get a lot of voices. You know what I mean? Like one person said that they had actually designed their cube based on, and he just showed up to Karu's cube, or at least on his kind of design principles. So I figure when I review that one, Deck should come in here and talk about it. Now I just have to get him to agree to do it. So the idea will be trying to bring in people that can lend something to the specific cubes and that they're excited about. Like, when you and I talked, D-White, I sent you some ideas and said, here's some cubes I'm looking at. Do these excite you? Because I don't want to bring one up that you're like, oh, that's not my jam. But all these look really good, for sure. I'm excited about them. There's some wild ass cubes. There's some wild ass cubes out there. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to pull up the first one here. So this is pretty wild, and this was the only person who had the audacity to send me a CubeTutor link, or one of two. So
we can't be shaming the community, you know.
No. I'm only trying to shame Cube Tutor because I'm a Cube Cobra lifer at this. The audacity, right, man? So
hey, this not too late. We can still convert.
Yeah. Maybe this will be the moment. Maybe this will be the moment that brings them in. They get it. So I cloned it over to Cube Cobra, but I'm going to go ahead and share. Let me share both of these links right now before I forget. Here's the original, and those look like they worked. And there is the there is my clone of it. So you can look in whichever one you want. This cube, however, has a little bit of a story, which is pretty cool. So, oh yeah, I did see. I will. The easiest thing is to get in the Discord because I'll put a link in there for the form permanently, and somewhere at the top of the chat, it's in there. But there's a Google form that I can send you. So whoever originally asked that, if you want to DM me or get in the Discord or hit me on Twitter, anywhere, I'll send you the form link. It's also somewhere on Reddit, but I'd have to dig it up right now. And I think Pab's in here. So Pab, if you happen to be able to dig that up as well, that would be awesome. So this cube is called the Marine Cube, or the Marine Peasant Cube, for a good reason. This the designer is goes by Hurricane Andrew, and Andrew is also a streamer. So let me shout out Andrew real quick. So HK and Andrew here with some links. Get on over there and follow Andrew as well. So Andrew and some of the local players at his LGS got together. I think it was in March, if I remember correctly. And it was Veterans Day. Excuse me, it was for Veterans Day. They got together and they made a peasant cube. They worked together. They designed it. Everyone contributed different things. So some people contributed some cards. He put in a Finkel versus Garfield tin to keep it in. A bunch of people covered shipping costs. They hand drew like stick figure tokens. They hand drew a bunch of tokens with like words of encouragement, and they sent it to a former local player who's serving in the Marines. Like, yeah, how cool is that? Yeah. That's so cool. So, of course, when I saw that, I was like, well, like I think I texted you in the middle of the night. I was like, here's number one. Like, this is awesome. So the cube itself, I assume, it's peasant, is probably on the budget side. Like, there's probably a budget consideration. Andrew didn't mention one specifically, but I would think, when you're donating an entire cube, like, that's a lot of cards. So it's hard to,
One of the benefits is, you have a fun playable cube, and it's not going to cost you more than, $100.
Exactly. So, Andrew mentioned that, he said, let me see, from what he's told, it's been well received, and it's been updated and modified since then, because of course, that was a while ago. And the whole fun of it is to make those modifications, right? But it's basically like getting a free, probably slightly better version of like one of the starter cubes out there that you can buy, because it's personalized. So let me get in the list here. So we're gonna run through the cube real quick. The only question that Andrew asked was, is it fun? So we'll jump on that. Easy question, piece of pie. Very easy, yes, no. And then he had mentioned in the form overall review and impressions, and he was looking for a test draft. So we'll do one of those, D. White and I. And then he would love to see some test drafts by the community. So anyone who sees this and thinks it is cool, go ahead and hit some drafts, because I know, like, when I've put stuff out on Reddit and people draft it for me as like a test, that's like, I mean, the only thing better is obviously playing it, but it's still really good when a bunch of people draft it, because you can just see what people get into. People will find all kinds of synergies and like deck configurations that you wouldn't think of. So let's hit the basics on this. It's a reasonably even distribution, but D-Way, as you mentioned the other night, not a slave to the spreadsheet. It is not perfectly even in the numbers. Looking through, I know J-Bro, and since he's here, we should definitely do it, likes to see where the fun police are at. So when we're looking at stuff like our removal, especially at the peasant level, I think I would say that there's a pretty decent grip of red and definitely black removal. The black removal is like fucking excellent. At instant speed, this is a great start. We got swords in here. Pacifism, seal away. The white removal is fantastic as well. O-ring and banishing light. The white and black removal in peasant is really top-notch stuff. Pretty good. No matter how much you think you still learn about new cards. Frostling, a non-goblin Mog fanatic from Kamigawa. Amazing. Frostling is what he's talking about here. Oh yeah, look at that. So I don't know a ton about peasant, but looking at it, I feel like aggro is okay, and I feel like that's pretty normal for peasant, that it's not fantastic. Like, there's not really a lot of good like 2-1 options for 1 mana in any color, right?
You know, a lot of it's with like the way sets are designed now to draft. You can only have so much power at uncommon and common. You probably will find more power in older sets. So
Yep. But like the way that peasant gets around it is stuff like Healer's Hawk, right? So and obviously that's just a good card. 1 mana flying lifelink 1/1 is still strong, but this is kind of what you get. Is these Mog fanatic variants. And then as you get into 2 mana, you get a couple more 2-power options, and you get some more sack effects. And looking at Soul Warden and Pride Mate, it looks like there's probably a little bit of a life gain thing going on as well. So that Healer's Hawk goes up a little bit in estimation. But it looks like overall, I think this is going to be a relatively, like, there's a decent shot at getting a fairly aggressive deck in here. The biggest problem is that there's just no good lands at uncommon.
Yep.
And that's why actually a lot of peasant players put rare lands in their cube. Like, that's just the exception they make, is they'll put in at least something like temples or pain lands, if not shocks or even maybe fetches or something. Or check lands. Okay,
yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard to have a support an aggro deck with all your lands coming to play tapped.
Yeah. Spider says control is harder to work up in peasant because it normally leans on rare finishers or a wrath. That's true. There's not really any wrath effects at uncommon. Not the way that we typically think of them. Even the bad ones are not there. And as far as finishers, yeah, I mean, that is a tough one. Subjugator Angel can be an all right way to start that train rolling. But yeah, if your top end is 4/4s and 3/4s and 4/3s, that's pretty tough stuff. Or a 5/5. Here's your sweeper. The 7 mana creature that when it dies, it'll sweep the board. That's your sweeper right there.
Does he play any of the smaller sweepers like Infest or Pyroclasm?
Let's have a look.
Let's see.
Oh, this was the one. I think were we looking at this one the other night? Because we had mentioned there was a gate.
Yeah, because we saw there was a minor gate theme. Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think that'd be the deck I would try to force.
You try to force the gates deck.
Yeah.
That's on brand for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Gosh, I don't know. I think that's where it's at. Is Gates Ablaze. Right. Yeah, because like not even the. I don't see any of the Sweltering Suns or variants. So yeah. So it looks like there is a pretty nice where'd it go? A pretty nice reanimation theme in here. And the typical targets there are in green, Palaka Worm, Tusker, maybe the Sandworm. Those are pretty good things to pop up with a animate dead or a necromancy. There's a zombify, which I actually really appreciate. That's a pretty sweet, and I'm a big fan of Blood for Bones, especially at this power level. I actually think that's going to be a very strong option in this cube. Especially since a lot of the good black removal is limited. Doomblade-esque and Vendetta-esque. Okay, so back to the original question. Easy one. Is it fun? And I think we talked about this like 2 nights ago, and it's still like, how do you tackle that? Well,
yeah, right.
I think what I would want to look at, because it's actually a fair question, right? Like this was literally a gift. This was literally a gift that they put together and sent out, which is pretty cool. But what I think in Cube, if someone's asking what is it fun, I think the most important thing to look at is there a variety of things you can get into, especially when you're sending it to a person that maybe you know well, maybe you know kind of tangentially, right? Like, I don't know if they were close to the Marine or not. I don't know how well they knew the Marines, proclivities or what they like. But I think the best thing you can do, and if I was making a cube that I was going to send to someone, I would want it to be as wide as possible, right? I want you to have a strong, as much as possible in Peasant, a decent aggro option. I want you to have a few mid-range archetypes and a few distinct archetypes like Reanimate. I want there to be a ramp option, and I want you to have, if control isn't as doable, I want you to at least have some combo-y stuff that you can get into, or some interesting distinct archetypes. Like, so Lysalana, I was just looking at the list as we were talking. Pretty likely there's an elf theme, right? Yeah, 15 elves.
Yep.
And glancing through,
is there an elf payoff?
Probably not. I think Lysalana might be your payoff. You just get 2 elves at a time. Mm-hmm. And I'm so unfamiliar with Peasant. If it was Pauper, I could make some guesses, but I think the one I'm thinking of, and the name is escaping me right now. I think there's a couple.
Yeah, Timberwatch Elf, Well-Wisher, those are all pretty hard. Yeah, those are all pretty good cards to build around.
Yep. There's also... Oh, and then Shaman of the Pack. Yep. Thank you, BD. In the Golgari. So 2 multicolor elves, which is pretty cool. I like seeing elves scoot into black a little bit. I think that's cool. I was really excited for that green-black card that came out in Commander Legends. I'm not a big Commander player, but that looked like a cool one.
Yeah, there's another black-green elf that's really good. I think it was recently in another cube that was on Moto recently. I can't think of it. The Archer.
Oh, Poison Tip.
Yeah, Poison Tip. I think.
And I think that's. Oh no, that is an uncommon. Okay. So there's a possible addition if you want to support the elves. Now that is an elf. It doesn't really do much for the elf theme, but it is a cool elf. And there's a few others. That are worth playing. This is good if you have sacrifice, or if you just have, if you're going to go wide enough that things are going to die. Sometimes I played that in the Corset Cube. It was in the Corset Cube.
Yeah, that's where I remember seeing
I stacked up a shit ton of triggers. Actually, my opponent copied it twice, and then I wiped the board. So it was a lot of triggers. But point being, like, it's better with aristocrats or anything like that. But it can be good, even if things are just dying naturally. It just makes removing your stuff harder, and because it's black, it dodges Doomblade and stuff. So.
I do like, so just kind of looking at the list, I do like how his gold section is, there's a lot of signposts in there, so.
Yep. Yeah, and
opening those cards, and
Abelian had mentioned that the gold section was pretty pretty heavy. So if we go, just so we can kind of take a little bit more of a peek. Oh, and here's another one that when it cloned, it automatically gave us all the recent ones, which made the Japanese art. So we've got some Blink stuff in here. Blue Black has a lot of 2-for-1s and a lot of the usual. This is like the Popper staples. I feel like Agony, Warp, Horror, the Strix are all pretty common in Popper as well.
Yeah, really get recoil. They don't make spells like that anymore.
Right. Yep. Terminate. Yeah, no, they don't make them like that anymore. And then the recoil on legs. Or on tentacles, I guess. Yeah, Pab, that's a good observation as well. A lot of the ramps at 2. We'll go back to the ramp in a second, but that is a good point. Savage Twister.
Twister.
There's your shot at a
premium.
Sweeper. Yeah. Premium sweeper. Green red is, I was gonna say, all over the place. Like, I mean, fine sweeper. Fine kind of removal option. Especially if there's artifact creatures, which there's a few, and then some pump spells and a blood rush. It's like Versatility City, you know what I mean? Like it's all modal or versatile, but Grumgully is an interesting choice. Without, I guess you don't need a lot of support with Grumgully because you got shit like elves. So like,
yeah,
you're just gonna have a bunch of non-humans. You can just draft around it, or it can just be an incidental. Armadillo Cloak. I'm used to seeing that in an enchantments deck. Maybe? Shauna's Go Wide. I don't know if I've ever seen Wax Wane. That's pretty cool.
The original of the red-white...
right.
The red-white split card that came out in Dragon's Maze.
Yeah, yep. And then just off the cuff, I would say Orzhov looks like it's pretty strong. Pillory can be pretty tough to deal with. Cryptraps is a sweeper. Cryptrats is a sweeper. Yep. That's a fair point. Yep. And then Shaman, I do think, again, probably more of a payoff than a signpost. My suspicion would be that you can just splash that in if you're in Elves, and it doesn't matter if you're originally playing black or not. It's just 1 pip. And then Kiora is a pretty strong inclusion in here. What's up, JT? Cryptrats is the sweeper. I like Improbable Alliance in here to get us a little bit away from the spellsy spells that Electromancer and Charm steer us towards. And Fire and Ice supports. Dakaru likes Temporal Spring. Yeah, that's pretty strong. So what's interesting is most of the multicolor sections have something that works removal wise. Like where was the first? So like even starting with Hull Breach, which again is only going to hit artifacts and enchantments, but there are some artifact creatures in here, and Savage Twister as a possible sweeper backup. Obviously Mortify works well, and Putrefy. So everything even in Simic, the most unlikely of places, you've got some removal options, which I actually like. I like that, since it's going to be tough to find good removal options elsewhere in the monocolor. JT. Yeah, there are no restricted cards, right? Simpsoning just went through, drafted on Cube Cobra. There was a lot of gold going around, and you didn't see too many lands. Yeah, that I do think is an issue.
Yeah, it's a product of Cube Cobra, because I found out, especially during testing Live the Dream Cube, you would never see a fetch land or a dual land. It was oftentimes whenever we would test, we would just add dual lands to our decks just because.
Right.
In playing, we would see them more often in a natural draft versus kind of like the simulator where they rank those lands very high and the bots take them very early.
Right. So Dakar just said he's actually working on a major draft rework right now. So we'll all whisper, so we don't distract you too much, Dakar. So, but while you're correct about that, should be a major update to draft bots, and we'll set the stage for the multiplayer update. This is why I love Cube Cobra. Yes, this is a product of the draft. However, we have 60 multicolor cards and 30 dual lands. 30 lands. So that even includes stuff like Dread Statuary, which is a colorless land, or Quicksand as an option. And there's a couple rainbow lands like Rupture Spire. Again, those are pretty bad in Peasant overall. And we've got a Revolving Wilds and a Terramorphic, and a Warp Landscape. But I think the bigger point here is if we really want to play that way, we either need to cut one or two multicolor cards from most of the sections. Our smallest sections are 5 and the biggest ones are 7. So maybe they should all be closer to 5, like 4, 5, occasionally 6. Or we need better access to fixing. And I think as a gift cube, I would err on the side of cutting back on the gold. But if this was my cube, like if I had received this, one of the first things I would probably do is just pull a cycle of good lands like shock lands or check lands and just throw them in and say, we're just gonna cheat on the lands.
Yeah.
So, because I think 2 cycles of dual lands with up to 7 gold cards in any given section. Now, in fairness, like Miss Meadow Witch, Momentary Blink, Dovin, those could go into a hybrid section. We could recategorize those, and maybe that's even how it's categorized on Cube Tutor. I didn't look too closely because it hurts my eyeballs. So maybe stuff like that, and like Ancient Grudge, or Orcish Lumberjack could be recategorized as red. But even so, it's still a lot of gold for the lands. That being said, I do think, other than aggro and control specifically being a little bit challenging in Peasant, I think they did a pretty good job balancing it here. Thriving Lands, yeah, two votes on the new Thriving Lands from Jumpstart. They're more relevant in draft. I should have done that correctly. There we go. So there's five of these lands. They come in tapped, but they do give you really good access to possibly 2-color fixing. And they let you kind of, I think they're more flexible, I would say. They almost feel like tri-lands in a way. So I would third that as well. BD said,
I don't know how deep, but the Vivid Lands as well.
Vivid Lands, yep. So there are some options. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I would recommend fixing here. There's also a pretty deep 37 card colorless section. I did mention that there were some creatures, but it's actually quite a lot of equipment, some rocks, some utility artifacts, a few different options. So I think those are all cool. I think those are all that all helps a little bit. So why don't we jump into a draft? That was the other thing that was on question here. And we'll either do the whole thing or we'll at least get through 2 packs, depending on, you know, once we're on rails. I can already see people doing some drafts. That's awesome. All right.
Ooh, is a good pack.
Yep, there's a lot of lands in here, so I think we have an opportunity. My guess would be, just kind of looking at it, that it looked like Esper is one of the stronger colors, and we've got 3 lands in that shard. We've also got Shriekmaw jumps out at me as being really strong removal. Hey, Derek.
Hello, Derek. Yeah, I think, like you said, the Shriekmaw definitely stands out.
Yeah. I would be on Prison Realm too, but Shriekmaw being both removal and a creature, and that's hard to
pass up. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's grab that. See where we get into. We do have to grab some lands early as well, as we know, since 5 of them were in the first pack. Okay. The Druid jumps out at me.
Yep, and I think Black Green's probably pretty strong.
Yeah, I agree. Palaka Worm, that's one of our big payoffs. So with the Shriekmaw, it's possible that we get into like Reanimate, and if we do, we're going to want the Worm. If we want to go more ramp style, the Druid's probably more replaceable. The Worm that's kind of known as one of the peasant finishers, right? And yes. I assume Hellkite is pretty good in this format. A 3/3 flyer that burns has to be pretty good.
I think somebody mentioned in the chat there's a lot of X1s in this cube, so
Yep. Like the Druid. I think I would be on Worm here, personally. What do you think, D-White?
Yeah, I could definitely get behind a 7/7 that does all the things.
Does everything. All right. Gatebreaker Ram came up, so you could force that if you wanted. Pab, thanks for grabbing that link. I appreciate it.
I think we have an early chance to get a Planeswalker. It'd be hard to pass that up.
That's true. I haven't played with this one. How do we feel about it? I mean, you're making a Warlord Death Touch.
Always strong, especially in a pauper peasant environment.
Right.
Where options probably to kill it are probably not few and far between. So
yeah.
I see a playable. It's not the best Planeswalker out of the uncommon bunch, but it's in our colors, and
okay.
I think it's early enough to take that.
I can roll with that. It's also hybrid, so it doesn't lock us in as badly as it would if it was 2 black red or 2 black green. I think the only other thing I would look at would be the Tusker, just again the versatility and the top end. But yep.
Ooh, hello.
Oh, there you go. Necromancy, Seal of Doom, the Strix, Flametongue Kavu, the Wanderer. That's a good Planeswalker as well.
I think we have the start of a good reanimation deck, and being a premium reanimation spell in this pack, hard for the pass that up.
The Necromancy, I'll grab that. Yeah, I don't think that there's nothing to say we have to get into another color when a perfectly good. And similarly, Havoc Demon, so another top end. It does look like we're seeing a lot of red, so I wonder if that's. Deck said a minute ago, 28% of creatures have toughness 1. We were talking about that a minute ago.
Man, we got a statistician in here. Sweet.
Oh yeah, Cube Cobra makes it easy, man. This comment brought to you by.
Working on that sponsor.
Just gotta keep driving. Gotta keep pushing. Yeah, there's nothing better than the Havoc Demon here, right? Maybe Hero's Bane, but I don't know.
It's the screen share is a little blurry on my end. I don't know if
the Hero's Bane, is that what you want to see? And the Demon is a 5/5 flyer. It's someone that dies and kills everything.
Yeah. I think I like the Demon. Yeah. It probably puts us good for reanimation targets, maybe one more.
Right, if it comes around. Yep. All right, a guild gate came around, so that's something.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I don't think
I
there's
don't
anything
know
in here
what
for
we
us.
play white for, but I don't see what I would take over it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Half color land might be something. We might end up forcing that gates deck. Yeah, the vampire is a decent roadblock too. That is a fair point. I wonder. We might actually need this dragoon for discard.
Yeah,
right.
That's a easy pick there.
Yeah.
Even though the sacrifice guy is good too. The 3/1.
Yeah, the plague crafter. Yep.
I think having a discard outlet.
Yeah, we're gonna
not
need
knowing
that.
if we might see another one.
Well, and I don't think there's a lot of great self mill in here. That I didn't look too closely at.
Another dragon?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the fatties. And I've seen a couple of the gate pieces go around as well. Maybe we should have forced that like you foresaw.
I like dragon. Now we can kind of be a ramp deck as well.
Right. Yeah, we need to find some ramp or some early plays, but this set us up nicely, I think.
There's a reason to splash white.
The pillory. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean maybe Abzan in a real draft, maybe we'd be able to wheel some of those early lands that we saw. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or again in the version I would make of this, we would just want a few more lands. 3-mana 3/4 flash that bounces. I think Drana's the better, or the Emissary is the better. I guess if we think we're going to lean into white, Outflank is a fine. Well, we're not going to go wide though.
Yeah, no, I think Drana's fine.
Emissary, yeah.
Think...
Yep.
Well, we got one gate.
Yep.
For Gatebreaker Ram.
Yep. Yeah, it's that or the crypt just to hate on it.
Hate it. Yeah, we can hate the crypt.
Hate the crypt. Hate draft crypt versus the bots. Big brain move.
Suck it, bots.
Good at this. Yeah, suck it. Yeah, I guess if we ramp, we have the onslaught. Hero's Bane came around, so that's fine. That's a slightly cheaper early play, and then none of this is really on color, so we'll snag those up. Crypt Rat's the sweeper. We did it. We did it.
Yeah. Man, can we just take this whole pack and then go to pack 3?
Fucking real. Like, yes, please. I mean, the rats, if we were more monocolor. And I think
Life Death is really good too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It's also Star Compass.
Dakara's viewed as Life Death. There's a lot of people in chat on Life Death. I agree, Cold Life Oracle, that Gurmag Angler's a real card. My fear would be that if we're...
Kind of goes against what we're trying to do.
Right, we're mixing graveyard themes.
I think it's...
Dakaru, I have made this mistake before, so we have to take Life Death because I don't want Dakaru to leave.
It's a nice early play.
I would also say in a real draft, and this might even happen, if Crypt Rats came around, it might actually be, I mean, like we're decently in black. It might be early enough to try to lean more into black and try to get rid of some of these splash cards or the off color cards, you know? Yeah. So like, I think Sign in Blood might be a fine pick.
Yeah, that's I thought that was a very decent early play.
Yep. Ooh, Unburial, another reason to play white though. Yeah, I feel like we have, I mean, I know we have nothing under like 5 mana right now, so if we think we can last that long.
Still take Unburial Rights, right? It's just too good.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since you come out of the yard. You play it out of the yard.
Yeah.
Yep.
we talk about a second of how good Orcish Lumberjack is? I think a lot of people sleep
let's
on that
talk
card.
about that. Yep. Someone said it earlier. Someone said it earlier. They said that was a nutty card, and I agree. It's Ice Age. Yeah. I remember this card. I remember having one of these, I think, back in the day. Back when Ice Age was a thing. Yeah, sack a forest for 3 mana. That's pretty strong. It's pretty strong. Yeah. But there is Zombify, so.
Yeah.
Let's get in there.
I think we're doing it. I think
we're doing it. Blood for Bones. The Guild Gate. A land. I don't think we can pass a land at this point.
Yeah, I think we're gonna definitely be splashing the two
well, and even
lands.
even if we don't splash any white cards, I mean Pillory's fine, but Unburial at a minimum is like where we gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta be able to cast that. Putrefy, yep.
Yep. Premium.
Yeah, so we're Abzan.
Ooh.
Rabbit's Rats is pretty sweet. Unfortunately, it's target opponent, so we can't use it as a discard outlet. But we also
early play.
Well, and we just need some early roadblocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Damn, Mortify Wield. That's probably fine.
Yeah, I don't.
We have a lot of gold. Well, and so now we're running into what we talked about, right? Which is gold is heavy in here. So we're at a point where, we're at a point where, like normally, hopefully there would be some other lands coming around. But I agree with Pab that Rats is the jam here.
Yeah, for sure. I think just get somebody with that.
Yeah, and then I think that would be like a sign, right? We would be trying to lean into black a little bit more. Maybe white's a splash, maybe green's a splash, maybe not.
Yeah, and we could always just play black-white and then just have the Pelakka Worm.
No one's casting. We're not casting Pelakka Worm here.
So we start seeing good white cards come around, which happens pretty often in Cube.
Yep. And I'm just shit picking because I want to not spend too much time. I want to make sure we do justice to all 3 cubes, so I rushed that a little bit. Hey, John, how you doing?
Hey, Cultic.
Yep. So at this point, we might need the Gateway Plaza.
It's a gate as well.
It's a gate. We have the Ram.
If we play green.
Right. But even if not, I think just the fact that fixing is hard to come by in this cube.
Correct.
Like,
yeah, I think that's an easy
gold land
pick.
just can't be passed.
Ooh.
Shout out for this badass artwork. And card, but artwork.
Another thing they don't do like they used to. Art.
For real.
I'll get off my old man, get off my lawn moment.
Right. Summon Legend. That actually is, I mean, I think we're fine on finishers, but if we weren't, I actually think I'd be excited on that.
No, I think we're good. I think Vampire, right?
Right.
It's just
an early play.
Yep. Good early play.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, we did it.
Ooh.
We did it. Jungle Hollow.
Yeah.
Came around.
Hard passing up the giant too, but definitely take the land while it's in the pack.
Yep. And I mean, if we thought we were going to be confident on green, Beanstalk is a fetch, but I'd rather just have the land. Personally.
Ooh, nice removal spell.
Yeah, murder's always good. That double black would scare me. There's a lot of double pips. I mean, look at all these white cards. And we're not playing them, but they were here. Like, white. I mean, so many double pips. And you expect it on your finishers, but on your 3-drops, that's actually really challenging when the fixing isn't great. So a lot of gold cards and then a lot of double pips, like literally all these double pips through here. That's a big challenge for a cube like this. So I think, again,
we can be really heavy black.
Yeah.
And then we're going to...
Yeah, I mean, we'll take the murder because again, yeah, I think we're just gonna splash white, maybe a green spell somewhere. But
Strands of Night. That's always you don't see that very often in cubes, but it's still
spicy.
very powerful card.
Yep. Yeah, mono black and reanimate all in one right here.
I think I also have Greater Sandworm, which is a good early play.
Right. A cycler. Get it in the yard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think we need the Strands having...
No. We have plenty...
other quality pieces of reanimate.
We have a shit ton of reanimate, yeah. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3... I feel like there was 4 that I saw. If you count Resurrection, if we just go black-white. Yeah, I'll take the worm. We have very little ways to get stuff in the yard right now, too, so... yeah, like Grasp, black.
Yeah.
There's so many double pips. So many. That said, I think that's probably the pick.
Yeah, I still think we take Grasp here.
Pab's got cards that discard other cards. 10 blue, 3 black, 3 red. That's where the cube is at. Speaking of, Call the Bloodline, discard outlet.
Yep, gotta snap that up. I was thinking the Angel, but
yeah, no, I think
I think definitely need that discard outlet.
Call the Bloodline,
which means we'd have 2 out of the 3.
Yeah, yep. So we're doing great. We're really good at it.
Grizzly Salvage. I don't know.
That actually probably is a very Takaru. Thank you very much. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Gonna tweet about that later. Yeah, this we might just. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember seeing any other self mill.
We're not going to be playing green in this deck as far as castable cards.
Yep.
You could always have the black-white card as a sideboard card too.
Well, you just cast it at 5 as well. I mean, if it's in the yard, and we've got a rainbow land. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's a black-green deck with like a couple white pips in it. I don't know. Draft it and find out, right?
Yeah, I think the black-white probably a little better.
Probably. Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. The best targets... Pab was saying the best targets are blue, best reanimation is black, and the best targets are green. Yeah, deck. Gladiator did not wheel. You are correct. We'll go in the bots and see which ones snagged that up. But we'll take the mummy because whatever. Shaman came around. The Shade came around. This might be a fine... Derek, thank you so much. Thank you for the sub. I really appreciate everyone's support. Very means a big... I can't even talk. It means a lot to me. I really... I moved, D. White. Everyone's so kind. I love the cube community. 50% of what's awesome about cubing is the people that come with it.
Yeah.
The rest is reanimating Palaka worms.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll just grab the Shade. We're at the point here where these picks would matter if we were really going to play, but I don't want to kill ourselves. I actually kind of want to see what some of the bots did. So we'll just grab anything that looks on color, and a lot of the black's gone.
I've never seen that card before.
Balduvian dead.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. Remove target summon card in your graveyard. That's how you know it's good, is when it calls it a summon card. And you make a Graveborn token. It's a 3/1 black and red creature with haste. And then you bury it at the end of turn. What a card. We did it.
Right.
We did it. Ambrose was just pointing out that a lot of the a lot of the tokens appear to be 1/1s, and in fairness, this is another example of one that's a 3/1. So that's interesting. So I think in summary, on this cube, I think is it better than Rank Officer? I don't know. That's an interesting question. You can discard a card to make it 2/2. And this one's 2 and tap to drain 2, exile a creature, drain 2. Let's get them side by side. Oh, and I'm sorry, did I? The color on here was a little misleading. It's actually 2. Balduvian Dead's 2 and a red.
Yeah.
2 and a red, which I don't know if I said that or not. So I think I would say no, Rank Officer is slightly better, but if only because you don't have to do it in 2 colors. Yeah, I didn't catch it either, Derek. My bad.
Yeah, it makes a black and red token.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I skimmed over the 2 and a red. Okay, so on balance here, I think it's hard to answer the question, is this fun? But I think this is a neat cube. Drafting it made me feel like there were a variety of options. And we saw a lot of them come around. We had some interesting choices to make. There's some very really neat, older, strong cards in here, or even if they're not strong, they're like you said, they're cards that they don't make them like that anymore. I think this is a cool cube. I would enjoy playing it. I think there's some balancing issues that we could address. Again, like the lands in particular. But other than that, I don't know that. I think it's a good cube. What's your takeaway on it?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Balanced. Playability was high. I think I'd want to draft it multiple times.
Yep.
There's a lot of different options. I appreciate the larger gold section. With some, especially, and then utilizing some older cards as well. So
yeah,
it's a really good mix of old, new, kind of building on standard strategies. So yeah, I would definitely recommend cubing this again.
Yeah, this is cool. And again,
I'd like to play our deck, so that's also a good sign.
Right. I'm more and more learning that if it's Reanimate, I'm probably in on it. But yeah, I think honestly it's just addressing the land section, and maybe that's the kind of thing that, again, this is a gift cube. You're like, listen, here's a cube, it's pretty much ready to go. Fixing's a little tough. Have at. And again, personally, like if I was sitting here holding this cube, like I would go to my lands binder and be like, shockland, fuck it, we're doing this. I wouldn't.
I think even if you did like the Vivids and then the new lands from Jumpstart,
right,
would definitely help, especially with the amount of gold cards. So maybe finding 10 gold to cut and putting in
and put in 10 lands. Yeah. Yep. I agree. Okay, cool. So, not to be wham bam, thank you, ma'am, but we still have 2 cubes to go. So, unfortunately,